terrible head injury, and I was in another country. All these awful things happened. It's not really. No, I just was working. I mean, more than anything, I moved. Me and my girl kept moving around, and just always moving for work or school or what have you. And it's just hard to get settled and make music that way. And I was working, just constantly trying to pay the rent, and and I didn't really know about how to make music fast. I guess I was so set on making masterpieces or on just trying to learn as I was going along that, and wanting to perfect everything, and so it was slowing me down as far as my productivity. And I wish during that period when I was on Look Records and leading up to when we did Brokelore, that was the 5-year period or 6-year period, I just wish I'd been able to make more music more often and gotten that album out sooner, but ultimately I'm happy with the album. I think it's a solid album, and that some of the wait definitely was worth it, because the way that I made music changed so much in those 5 years. When Look Records signed me, basically I hooked up with Look because Dave Paul from Bomb was friends with DJ Design of Foreign Legion, who's just a dope producer and DJ and musician all around. And so those cats are friends, and so I guess from Dave, Keith heard about me, that's DJ Design, and they ended up signing me to Look Records. And so I made that whole transition basically on their time, from cassette to digital, and learning how to record myself at home and learning how to record in their studio, because that's totally different. That's why the two albums sound so different, is that one I recorded all myself in Welcome to Brokeland. I recorded in a living room basically in front of a cassette player with a handheld mic and a pantyhose popper stopper, like pantyhose around a coat hanger, 2 fists like this, just press play, rock it. Brokelore, they had a real studio at Look Records, and I was also learning to set up my own home studio from my man Rob Rush. Taught me how to just do digital at home, and so that the albums really sound different, and it took time to reach that better level of audio fidelity and higher level of skills in terms of my production and my writing. And I was learning a lot from Design, and that dude is just he's been around for a while, knows all kinds of stuff about equipment. So he used I think his main thing that he started on was the SP12 or whatever, 1200, just the classic, By the time I had gotten there, he had Pro Tools, and so you would record vocals into Pro Tools and that kind of thing. He's got a real nice mic, much better than mine, and then we'd make the beats either on Pro Tools or I'd make the beats in Reason or Fruity Loops or whatever I was using at the time, and bring it up to his studio in San Francisco. I wasn't living there at the time, and we would re-piece them together, and he would feed those computer samples through his old equipment. So the ASR-10, which I have one of now, thanks to them, thanks to Look, he basically taught me how to use that as a way to add character. Like we were talking about earlier, this electronics have their own personality, and some of this classic equipment really adds dimension, and
it's real flat. Right?
Yeah, right. I mean, just the computer is a pure digital signal, but it's not. You lose a lot in the translation. So I mean, even though some of these things are digital, but they're an older form of electronics.
Right.
So it's you would take a bass line, or he would take and I learned this from him, but he would take a bass line or something that he played on, say, the Korg Triton.
Right.
And which is a real clean sound, and feed it through the ASR-10 and use one of the filters on there, and then that would give it just a much more round and organic sound. And
wow.
I mean, that's a guy who spends a lot of time. I mean, he's fast at it. It takes me much longer, but he puts a lot of thought into the sound. It's not just about putting together a beat, and this is something I've learned over the years. It's not just how you sequence it or the samples you use, but it's how it sounds. That's why Dilla shit or whatever, Premiere is the ultimate example of just sounds so good. The drums, everything just you know, a lot of that is engineering, a lot of that is where it gets recorded, and, you know, I haven't watched him work. I don't know how much of it he's personally responsible for. You know, people do mixing and things like that too, but to have the ears to create that kind of sound. And Design is really a guy who's like, his beats just sound dope. I still wish I could do that, but part of it is taking a lot of time to really take each element of your song and treat it, you know, like sometimes I get lazy. I'll just do a beat and just, I'm done, you know. Takes a long time to make beats, and sometimes you don't want to spend time to putting every element of it through the ASR10 so it sounds dope. Percy P and AG are both on Brokelore. I think I hid one around here. I have to get in my plug, you know. Brokelore. Cop it. Look Records was on Look Records. Now I control it. If you buy it on iTunes, the money goes into a black hole because of legal issues. So buy it on Bandcamp or from Fifth Element. All right. Both of those fine gentlemen, AG and Percy P, are on Brokelore because of DJ Design, essentially. And AG was recording for Look Records at the time that I signed to them, which was just a real bonus for me. Like, that dude is a legend, rightly so, and was a hero of mine when I was young, and, you know, just a dope rapper. So he was recording in the same studio I was recording in. The song that he's on, Poppin' Pockets, I had already done a version of, and it was going to be the first single. It eventually was. And Design was just like playing him music, I guess. I mean, this is how I understand it. And AG said, that's a hot track, you know, let me get involved with that. That's just what I heard.
There you go.
At any rate,
take pride.
Man, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't get paid to do it too. People get paid to work, but, you know, he's just dope. He came at it. He wrote the whole thing. I got to watch him record his verses and just see it, you know, like a legend working, which was great. And just a real nice cat, and has obviously been around a long time and knows a lot about the game. So that was just a pleasure for me. Percy P, basically we had done the track Paper Cup. I came up there with the beat, and it's fast rap. You know, Percy P, his lane, and dude can do a lot of stuff. But if there was one thing he was going to be like an all-star for, it's fast rap. He's just one of the all-time spitters, you know, at a high BPM. So basically the track sounded like it should have Percy P on it. And Design has long-standing friendship ties, like go way back with the Cats at Stone's Throw, Peanut Butter Wolf and them. And Percy P was putting out stuff on Stone's Throw at the time. He may still be, I'm not sure. And so, you know, he called, I don't know, and at some point I talked to Percy P on the phone. He was like driving around with DJ Design, driving around town, listening to the song or something. I got to talk to him on the phone, never got to meet him in person, but another legend and a gentleman, and just like both those guys were real cool, and I'm real thankful to have him on the album. The tracks with Percy P and AG, which is to say Paper Cups featuring Percy P and Poppin' Pockets remix with AG, obviously are some of my favorites because it was just, you know, a blessing to work with those guys, and I think the songs came out really well. Otherwise, I like Showtime. That's the opening track. That's probably the last one I did on it, and it was waiting for a beat. I hit up a lot of people. I had originally recorded it on an AG beat, and AZ beat. A lot of acronyms. AZ beat, and that's on Boner Jams. The original version is on Boner Jams. Took the remix, looking for someone to put a beat on the acapella, and a lot of people sent me versions, but eventually I went with my own. So that's why I like that song, because it's like the last thing that I made, and I put a lot of work into making the beat. But the whole album is just fantastic, so really, I recommend it to everyone, even if you hate music. Boner Jams, man. So I make these mixtapes to give people free music, and Boner Jams, possibly the worst named mixtape of all time, is, I mean, most of the leftovers that didn't make it onto Brokelore, for whatever reason, did end up on Boner Jams. That is a reference to the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Yeah. And
very clever.
So well, you may enjoy the mixtape. It's nothing but 40-Year-Old Virgin samples in between all the songs, which you don't hear much. It's a very funny movie, and consequently a very funny mixtape. And in between is just me, nothing but me, like 50 minutes of grip, and leftovers, Lucy's, stuff that wasn't for the album, stuff that I made too late. stuff that didn't fit or, maybe wasn't as good as some of the other stuff. But for the connoisseur, it's out there. It also has one of the goofiest covers of all time to match the title. It's like a guy in a squirrel suit with large testicles on top of a VHS cassette flying over a pagoda roof and a sea of cherry blossoms. You'll have to look it up online, Boner Jam's Grip Grand. It makes no sense, but it is full of good rap music if that is what you like. Don't let the cover fool you, or the name.